Two women walked into a bar in Federal Way, Washington, on the night of May 21st, 2023, and never walked out. Minutes of violence changed lives forever. Yet the man accused of pulling the trigger didn't spend a single night behind bars. Instead, he vanished. How does someone charged with first-degree murder escape not just a crime scene, but an entire country? Who helped him? And what happens when justice hits an invisible wall called the border? This isn't just a story about shooting. It's a story about disappearance, silence, and a fugitive who seems to stay one step ahead of the law. Tonight, we follow the trail of Samuel Ramirez Jr., a man wanted for murder, driven into Mexico by his own parents, and still missing years later. The clock has been ticking since 2023, so why hasn't it stopped yet? Inside the Stars Bar and Grill, a place meant for music, drinks, and late-night laughter, gunfire erupted. When the shots stopped, two women were dead. A third person was wounded but survived. Panic flooded the room. Screams, blood, chaos. And somewhere in that confusion, the name Samuel Ramirez Jr. began to surface. Who was he to the victims? What led up to that moment? And how does a man charged with first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and attempted first-degree murder manage to disappear? Despite warrants, border alerts, and eventually the full attention of the FBI, according to investigators, Samuel Ramirez Jr. was identified as the suspect in the Stars Bar and Grill shooting. Within days, prosecutors in King County moved fast. On May 24th, 2023, a judge in King County Superior Court issued an arrest warrant. The charges were severe, the evidence strong enough to move forward, and the urgency undeniable. 2 lives had been taken, one more nearly lost. But Ramirez was already gone. Investigators say that after the homicides, Ramirez fled Washington state and made his way to Lake Havasu City, Arizona. That alone raised questions. Why Arizona? Who was helping him? Did someone tip him off that arrest was imminent? Or was this a panicked, impulsive escape with no real plan? Then came a detail that changed everything. On May 23rd, 2023, just 2 days after the shooting, authorities allege that Ramirez's parents drove him into Tijuana, Mexico. Not weeks later, not months later, almost immediately. Think about that timing. How did they move so quickly? How did they know where to go? And did anyone try to stop them before they crossed the border? Once Ramirez crossed into Mexico, the case entered a different and far more complicated phase. Jurisdictional barriers, international cooperation, diplomatic processes. Suddenly, an arrest warrant issued in Washington state didn't carry the same immediate force it would have inside the U.S. For the victims' families, the pain didn't stop. It deepened. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, one question lingered louder than all the rest. How could someone charged with such serious crimes still be free? The FBI eventually stepped in. Ramirez was placed on law enforcement radar as a fugitive. A reward was announced. Up to $25,000 for information leading to his location, arrest, and conviction. His face and name were circulated. Tips were requested from the public, and yet no arrest. Was he being sheltered by relatives or associates? Or had he slipped into the shadows of city where American warrants mean little without cooperation? On November 14th, 2025, more than 2 years after the shooting, federal authorities escalated the case. A federal arrest warrant was issued in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Washington. This time, the charge was unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. That charge matters. It acknowledges something critical. Investigators believe Ramirez didn't just run. He ran with intent, knowing exactly what he was fleeing from. So why, even after that, hasn't he been caught? This is where the story becomes murkier, and where speculation must be handled carefully. There is no public evidence that FBI agents, business figures, or public officials actively helped Samuel Ramirez Jr. evade arrest. None. No charges. No confirmed leaks. No proven corruption. But unresolved cases invite uncomfortable questions, and the public is left to wonder about the gaps. Did systemic delays play a role? Was information slow to cross borders? Were resources stretched thin by other high-priority cases? Or did Ramirez benefit from the harsh reality that once someone crosses into another country, Justice slows to a crawl. Mexico does extradite suspects. But extradition is a legal process, not a snap decision. It can take years. It can be stalled by paperwork, appeals, or a lack of precise location data. And if Ramirez avoided official systems, avoided employment records, avoided social media, and stayed within trusted circles, tracking him will become exponentially harder. Then there's the human factor. Who would protect someone accused of killing 2 people? Parents already accused of driving him across the border. Friends who may feel loyalty outweighs morality. Associates who believe silence is safer than cooperation. Every fugitive who stays free for years usually doesn't do it alone. And yet, helping a fugitive is a crime in itself. So are people staying silent out of fear, out of loyalty, or because they believe he'll never be caught? Another haunting question remains unanswered. Why that night? Why those victims? What happened inside Star's Bar and Grill that escalated to such irreversible violence? Was it planned? Was it spontaneous? Was there a dispute that spiraled out of control in seconds? Without an arrest, those answers remain locked away. For the injured survivor, for families of the 2 women who never made it home, time is frozen on May 21st, 2023. Birthdays pass. Holidays arrive. Justice feels like something promised but never delivered. And for the public, the case raises a chilling thought. If someone can be charged with multiple counts of murder, flee the country, and remain at large for years, how fragile is the system meant to protect us? Is Samuel Ramirez Jr. still in Mexico? Did he move again? Is he using a new name? The FBI believes someone somewhere knows where he is. That's why the reward still stands. That's why his name hasn't faded from wanted lists. And that's why this case is not closed. Because fugitives don't vanish into thin air. They hide. They adapt. They rely on silence. And silence is exactly what keeps cases like this unresolved. So the question now is not just where Samuel Ramirez Jr. is, but who will be the one to break that silence? And if he's been free this long, what finally brings him back into the light? This case isn't over. And until there's an arrest, every unanswered question remains a reminder that justice delayed is justice denied. If you know something, anything, this is the moment that matters. Somewhere beyond the headlines, Samuel Ramirez Jr. is still breathing free air. While 2 families live with permanent absence, warrants have been signed, charges have been filed. A $25,000 reward waits for the tip that finally breaks the silence. And yet, the fugitive remains unseen. Is he hiding in plain sight, protected by loyalty, fear, or the slow grind of international justice? Or is someone, somewhere, choosing not to speak? Until an arrest is made, this case remains unfinished. And every day, without answers, only deepens a mystery. Because fugitives don't disappear forever, they're found. The only question left is when. And who will be the reason justice finally catches up?